Yep. You want to have attitude, that's what comes with it. Okay. So it says find the distance between each pair of points. Our very first step on all of these problems is going to be to label. Okay. So because we have two different coordinates, so the very first set of coordinates. So I'm going to label x sub 1, y sub 1. What am I going to label the other coordinates?
X sub 2, y sub 2.
Perfect. X sub 2, y sub 2. All right, focus. Label. No, you're not, because you didn't label. What?
Is it okay if I have one of my text from my staff?
Yep. Okay, so what we need to do, we got our distance formula, so we can say D equals, draw your big parenthesis, or your big square root. Look, I'm about to blow your guys' mind, because I know right now you're like, what the heck is going on?
Yeah, for real.
Give me a chance. Okay, so our very first thing, we start following our formula. So we're going to say parentheses. What's our x sub 2? 6 minus our x sub 1.
Oh.
-5, close parentheses, square it, plus y sub 2 is 1 minus, what's y sub 1? -2. Okay, here's why we'll tell you. It does matter if, so our minus sign, because this is the most thing where people screw up. Once you can write it out, you're good. Okay, that is a guarantee. Because those calculators are really great about, you can just type everything in. But you have to say minus and then whatever that y is. So see how some, on these ones I got 2 negatives?
Yeah.
Okay, what is 2 negatives really?
Positive?
It's a positive. So before you even type this in a calculator, check. So we can change this one into a plus. We can change this one into a plus. Okay, now on your calculators, the first one I'm going to kind of do it by hand. And then the second one I will show you definitely how to type it in on the calculator, okay? So our very first one, and this is the long way just to show you what happens, okay? We got D equals, and it's a square root of all this parentheses 6 plus 5, close, squared. Okay, so we can say equals D. What is 6 plus 5?
11.
11. So inside of here, we're really going to have 11 squared. Okay, and then it says plus, parenthesis, 1 plus 2.
3.
3, so we got 3 for this one. So 3, close parenthesis, squared.
Okay, I know that 3 squared equals 9. 11 squared.
Okay, so we got D equals an 11 squared. Okay, on your calculator there is a squared button. On the next one we're really gonna like explore the calculator. Okay, so 121 plus a 3 squared is 9. Okay, 121 plus 9 is gonna be 130. Okay, and then this is still in operation. We're not done, okay? So we type that in our calculator and you're going to get 11.4. A square root 11, 130 is 11.4. Okay, and that's what D equals, okay? Now, that's a lot of work. You can do them step by step like that. Or if you're using these calculators, you can totally just type it in and it will go take you from the very first step to the very last step. Okay? But it's not going to work very good on your phones. That's what I can tell you. So don't try to use your phone for these because it's not going to work. Just because the iPhones, you have to type them in a certain order and then it starts getting them backwards and you really have to know the process of what you're doing to do it on your phone. Okay? Okay, so let's look at number 2. Our very first step is to do what?
Label.
Label them. Okay, so we got x1, y1. Okay, here's why we'll tell you. The order does matter. Okay, you have to plug in the stuff the way it should be plugged in. So before it didn't really matter what we labeled our x1 or y1, okay, as long as they were like together. These ones it does matter. Okay, you cannot put an x2 where an x1 goes because we're subtracting. Okay, so we got D equals and we can draw our big huge parenthesis or square root. Okay, so I got parentheses x2 minus x1. Our x2 is what?
4.
-5 minus our x1, 3. We need to close the parenthesis and squared. Plus parenthesis y sub 2, 5 minus and minus our y sub 1, which is 4. Close the parenthesis and square it. Okay, already, if you don't have a calculator, get one. And I will show you guys how to do them on this calculator, and then we'll work with.
Okay,
Okay, the very first button that you need to push is gonna look like, and I'm just gonna draw the buttons up here. It's gonna look like this, and it's gonna have a little white box color in it.
Oh, this thing.
Oh,
Wait, this?
you talking about that
It's gonna be right here.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay, that's the very first, what? Yeah. That's gonna be the very first one that you plug in, or put in. Okay, now, our next one, we need to type a parentheses first. So, right here's a parentheses. Parenthesis,
Yep.
-5,
Oh.
Oh,
-3, close the parenthesis, and hit the x squared button. Bree, what are you doing? Come on.
Oh, I was supposed to do it with you.
Yeah,
You do
come on,
this.
good. Parenthesis. No, you didn't even hit the very first button I told you to
I
hit.
did?
No, you didn't. There, now you can start typing it.
Alright.
Close it and then square. Yep. And then keep going. So plus 5 minus 4. You guys get it?
Oh, I didn't put a parentheses.
Oh, that's tough.
And just
Wait,
Oh, there.
I don't, I
You got
forgot to
it.
put it, oh wait, or can I just, oh my, I just.
Yeah. That's long. Dang.
I'm not worrying. So, do I hit these things?
Did you get it?
No.
You didn't get it?
No. I did something wrong.
Did you use a negative or a minus?
I used just.
Right, for everything?
Yeah.
No, you can't do it.
Oh.
So this one says 5 minus 4. So you need to use the minus. Okay, so when you hit enter, you should have gotten the square root of 65. Right? Did everybody?
Yeah.
Okay, then there's one extra little baby step. Okay, so right now we typed all that stuff in. We got d equals the square root of 65. But we really need to know what that is. So square root of 65 is not helpful. So right above your orange delete button, there's a button that says S to D. That means standard to decimal. So, because we want to know what that number is at about a decimal. So hit SD.
SD.
Yeah.
Dang.
It'll be, so, and then you're going to use the first 2 decimal places. That's going to be your inch.
What?
Okay.
Okay, so the instructions say round to the nearest tenth. What is that?
6. No, wait, 0. Oh, wait. Oh. 6.
Okay, so some of you guys don't remember the place values. So here's what I will tell you. Just due to the second decimal point. I don't even want you to round today. Because You guys are all looking at me like, I don't remember my decimal places, which you probably don't. Okay, so for this one, we're just gonna put 8.06. I don't care if the answer is 8.99, that's what I want you to write. I don't want you to round, I want you to write the exact decimal on your calculator.
Alright.
Okay, so let's look at number 3. Our very first step is gonna be to do what?
Label?
Label